wild at JBJ's Rooftop. It's the highest rooftop on Broadway and the place to catch fireworks, skyline views, and the coolest party in town. Tickets start at just $50, and that's one of the best deals on Broadway. Get the shoulder-to-shoulder chaos on the street and elevate your night with 2 rooftop bars, live music, and unbeatable vibes, all with front row views of Nashville's incredible fireworks show. Tickets at jbjsnash.com/events.
Start your engines, Nashville. It's the Borchetta Bourbon Music City Grand Prix, roaring into Labor Day weekend at Nashville Super Speedway. 2 days of nonstop action, including high-stakes qualifying Saturday and the NTT IndyCar Series Championship race on Sunday, with cars hitting speeds over 200 miles per hour. Adult tickets start at just $70, and kids 12 and under are only $10. But hurry, the best seats are going fast. Get yours now at MusicCityGP.com. That's MusicCityGP.com.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9. The Fan.
30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee. It's the George Plaster Show, featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famers Kelly Holcomb and young gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in on a hot, very hot Wednesday afternoon in Nashville, Tennessee. This is the continuation of what's been going on the last few days. 93 degrees at the moment, and the first sign of cooler stuff is Friday, where we get at least some precipitation chance for about a 5-day period. We'll see how all that plays out. Let's start in Murfreesboro. Say hello to Kelly Holcomb. Kelly, how are you?
I'm great, George. How you doing?
I'm good. What's going on? Have you recovered?
I'm recovering, yes. I'm trying to get up this morning at like 5:40. I was up at 5:40, and then I just fell back to sleep. My father-in-law was coming over here, and we had to take some trash to the dump, and my wife and I were both out at 7-something, and I'm like, good gracious, girl. So yeah, we're recovering, we're starting, but we'll see. Hey, that's tough, man, when all that stuff's weighing on you. And
oh, sure.
My wife did way more than I did. I just had to, go here, go there.
I believe it. Hang in there. Billy, what's going on in your world?
Got the sort of the dog days getting going, but we still got some stuff to get into, some interesting comments that I'm going to play here in a second.
What kind of comments?
Some Steve Spurrier comments.
Steve Spurrier, never one to shy away.
Wow.
Maybe his best one was, you can't spell citrus without U-T. Okay, so should that lead us into the update?
That does lead us into the update, brought to you by X Golf. Step into the future of golf with X Golf. Experience the world's most accurate golf simulator and elevate your game like never before. Check out their new location, 209 South Royal Oaks out in Franklin. Again, book your tee time now at playxgolf.com. All right, we're going to start right there. Steve Spurrier, on a recent podcast with Pat Dooley, was asked, well, he just sort of started the conversation about who's going to win the SEC this year, mentioned how most people are picking Texas to win the SEC, and just take a listen to see what else he had to say.
I think most people are picking Texas to win the SEC football.
Most
correct?
People are. I think that is going to be the consensus preseason pick.
They've got Arch Manning already winning the Heisman, too. Yep. And my question is, if he was this good, how come they let Quinn Ewers play all the time last year?
Even though he was hurt a lot.
Yeah.
And he's still.
And he was a 7th-round pick.
Yes, exactly.
And Arch is going.
And now they're saying Arch is going to be the first pick. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, that's a good point.
Well, you only have to ask the coach Sark. How come you played that one instead of this one? Hopefully you'll say, because we thought he was better in that one.
Yeah.
Isn't that why you played one guy and not the other? Unless it's a discipline, and there was no discipline or anything.
You were never.
Okay, so, I don't know that I've asked this question. I have never been Quinn Ewers' biggest fan. He's basically a statue with a really good arm. Kelly, why did he fall to the 7th round?
Because that's not what the NFL is looking for anymore. They're looking for guys that can run around and make plays. And here's the deal: you don't have to coach guys like that. They just, I told y'all a couple of weeks ago that's what the Bob Greasy deal was when he was at Miami a long time ago. They just said, "Hey, go make a play." If there was a side adjust or a hot route, hey, it wasn't blocked. Just go make a play. And that's the Lamar Jacksons of the world, the Jaden Daniels of the world, and Quinn Ewers is not that guy. I don't know. I wasn't that guy either. And he never impressed me at Texas, George. I mean, you say he's got a strong arm, but he throws it sidearm. He's not very athletic. He's not athletic at all. And I don't know. He is kind of a statue back there. You've got to be able to move a little bit, but he struggles moving a little bit sometimes. So I can understand why he fell to the 7th round. I don't know if he deserved to be drafted, to be honest with you, but who knows? We'll find out.
Okay, hold on a second. Do you think there were quarterbacks drafted ahead of him that he's better than?
No, I do not.
Okay. So let's take what Spurrier said just a tad bit farther.
The experience, I think, came into play when you're talking about that. I think the experience with Quinn Ewers, and I think that Sarkisian thought that he had a really honest shot to win a national championship, and he was kind of holding back on Arch Manning, I guess. I don't know. I mean, we would have to get him in a room and be confident. We'd have to be confidants, and he would have to tell me what his thinking was when all that came about. But I don't know. I just think it was experience when it boiled down to it. And I think sometimes coaches, I think this is what happened to Kalen DeBoer with Jalen Milroe. He got into a situation where it's not his guy, but he had done so much and he was in the Heisman race. There's a lot of pressure with that. And I think the same thing happened at Texas. I think he thought that probably Quinn Ewers gave them a better shot because he thought they could win it last year, a better shot to get further as they could get. So, I don't know. Who knows? You just have to ask a coach that at some point.
Okay, so let me ask this: if his last name were Jones instead of Manning, would we be hearing all this Heisman talk? Because honestly,
no.
At this point, we don't know anything about Arch Manning.
Right. No, you would not. If it was a Jones, you would not hear it. He would just be another name. But hey, he's football royalty. His dad played. Both his uncles played. His dad was a good high school player. He had that neck issue that kind of stymied him and put him on the sideline. But they're the first. I've heard them called the first family of football, and he's got the Manning name, so he's going to get every consideration with all that stuff, and that's something to live up to, George. I couldn't imagine the kind of pressure that he's under. I hope he doesn't feel that way, and I hope they talk to him, and I hope that he talks all that stuff out. But that's a lot of pressure to go along with a guy that is expected to be is expected to be the Heisman Trophy favorite, and sometimes it just don't turn out that way. His uncles are one thing, but he's different.
It all starts week 1 at Ohio State. So buckle up, Arch.
Buckle up, Buttercup. Okay. Keep going.
Do we want to keep going on Arch there?
No.
Okay.
Keep going.
Some lower level college football news. The Atlantic Sun and the WAC are forming an alliance, the old alliance in college football, where 5 football playing ASUN members will move in 2026 into the WAC, which will then rebrand as the United Athletic Conference. Southern Utah and Utah Tech are leaving the WAC for the Big Sky. Who are the Atlantic Sun teams that play football?
Without having it in front of me,
I think Jacksonville's one of them. Golly, man, that's a tough one. Eastern Kentucky's another one because they're in the ASUN now.
Austin P, right?
Austin Peay's one of them. They're in the ASUN as well.
You mentioned
the
Eastern
other two?
Kentucky, Stephen F. Austin, Tarleton, North Alabama. Okay.
North Alabama's one of them, yeah.
Abilene
I don't know about
Christian.
Stephen F. Austin. Have they come into the ASUN now, Stephen F. Austin?
Yep. Yeah. And
Okay.
Utah, University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley is expected to join this year. So, or already is in there this year. So the United Athletic Conference is the new merger between the ASUN and the WAC. Can't be a bad thing for a school like an Austin P or an Eastern Kentucky, you would think. But we've got that.
Does this move a needle?
I mean, it can't hurt them.
What's the and what's how much is it going to cost them to fly out west and to get a hotel and do all that? You know what I'm saying?
Fair point.
I mean, some of these feel like moves just to say we've made a move.
Yeah, I see what you're saying there.
I don't.
Correct.
I mean, does this give me a big warm and fuzzy?
I certainly hope not.
Well, I mean, but you know what I mean. I mean, does this move a needle? Does this get a TV network going? Man, we've got to get aligned with them. Doesn't feel like it.
Well, we'll see if tonight's NBA draft moves the needle. Starts at 7 o'clock on ABC and ESPN. The second round will be tomorrow night. Cooper Flagg is the overwhelming favorite to be the number one overall pick. Multiple sports books list him at minus 100,000 to be the first player off the board to Dallas. That means a bettor would need to risk $1,000 to win $1 on him going first. A pair of Rutgers stars, Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey, two other players to watch, as well as Texas's Trey Johnson and Baylor's VJ Edgecombe. We're going to get a call into the show around 4:30 from our guy Ty. He's a big NBA guy. He's going to tell us a little bit about the draft. So,
can I ask an ugly question? If you're Rutgers and you've got two of the best players in the draft,
I was asking the same thing.
Why weren't you any good?
It reminds you of when Anthony Edwards was at Georgia. They didn't even make the tournament. You know, Vandy, I know Garland got hurt, but you still had Neesmith and Simi Shatu. I don't know. One has to wonder what the coaching situation was at Rutgers.
Whoever one is, one wonders.
Speaking of college basketball, pretty big piece of news earlier today. According to Matt Nolander of CBS Sports, college basketball's regular season is set to expand. Barring an unexpected and extremely unlikely motion to vote against, the NCAA will approve an increase from 31 to 32 games. So big expansion there.
For what reason? The last thing we need right now is more.
I think what this is pointing to is, and I could be totally wrong here, that there's a connection here, but I've heard some rumblings that the tournament is going to soon expand.
Oh, I think it is. I think it's going to 72 or 76. But I don't see, I mean, why do you need a 30-second game other than just the obvious, well, somebody gets an extra revenue, an extra gate, a home game. But when I look around, this is becoming more and more of a grueling deal.
Yeah, I mean, I think for a school like a Kentucky, this would matter for another big non-conference game maybe, but I don't know if it would matter for a smaller school. But that's what you got in college basketball. At the big league level, had a big night for former Tennessee Vols last night. Christian Moore hit a game-tying homer and then a walk-off homer in the Angels' win over the Red Sox last night. He homered to left in the 8th to tie the game and then followed it up with a 2-run walk-off homer. He's the first player in MLB history to hit a game-tying homer, a walk-off homer, with his team trailing and drive in all of his team's runs in MLB history. So not a bad night for Christian Moore. Just a year after winning the national title, he's the 9th Vol from the Tony Vitello era to reach the big leagues and the 7th from that 2022 Tennessee team. He's the 3rd to debut this season. Chase Dolander also debuted for the Rockies. Chase Burns last night also debuted with the Reds. Of course, he pitched at Wake Forest as well. He allowed 3 runs on 6 hits, 8 strikeouts on 81 pitches in a big Reds win over the Yankees. He left trailing 3-0. The Reds battled back to walk it off. Another historic night for Burns. He's the first starting pitcher since 1961 to strike out his first 5 batters faced in his debut.
So, honestly, if I had to say who's got a better shot of getting in the playoffs, Cincinnati or the Braves? Right now,
Cincinnati.
I'd have to go Cincinnati. They're 4 games over 500. The Braves are 4 under. Willie's Mets, who have gone in the tank, lost 9 of their last 10. Here is living proof that they are really struggling. So the Braves score 5 in the 6th inning to take a 5-3 lead at Citi Field in New York last night. And then my bullpen produces Pierce Johnson, the kid Moreno, Dylan Dud, and then Enyel De Los Santos, who I've started to figure out. Old Enyel pitches really good if it's 7-1 either way, but get it a little closer. And old Enyel, I don't know. Enyel's not who I want pitching when the game's on the line.
I saw a tweet today from Josh Pate. He said, "Some are alive today because of modern medicine. The Braves are alive today because the New York Mets exist."
God, no kidding. Pretty amazing the way they've fallen apart. Are we done?
Yep.
Okay. After the break, Nashville's hardest working sports personality, that would be the Tennesseans' Mike Organ, will join us. So stick around. This is 94.9 The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
At Wilson Bank & Trust, we believe you shouldn't have to choose between personal service and digital solutions. As your local independent bank, we're proud to offer the relationships and trusted service you expect, along with the tools and technology that keep you moving forward. So whether you're growing a business, buying a home, or planning for the future, we're here to help. Because this isn't just where we work, it's where we live too. Wilson Bank & Trust, here to get you there. Member FDIC.
This is my buddy Stan Harrison from Apple Collision Centers. Recently, you've been talking to me about companies that have a fleet of trucks and they're always in need of repairs.
That's right, George. We understand that nobody likes to deal with the auto body repair process. We try to simplify that at our 3 convenient locations. We work with all major insurance companies. We help to ease the stress of the auto body repair process. We're located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. If you need our services, please stop by and see us.
And how convenient that we have that in the background. Now, seriously, these are good folks. They do really good work. Give them a holler.
The auto body repair process. We try to simplify that at our 3 convenient locations. We work with all major insurance companies. We help to ease the stress of the auto body repair process. We're located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. If you need our services, please stop by and see us.
And how convenient that we have that in the background. Now, seriously, these are good folks. They do really good work. Give them a holler.
Looking for your favorite sports?
How about sports? You follow sports?
We probably have it. Just log on to the Information Superhighway. Oh, they don't call it that anymore?
To start, press any key. Where's the any key?
Head to theGameNashville.com.
The password we're in.
You'll find what time your game starts and what station it's on.
Oh, they have the internet on computers now.
That's what's up. Your sports live here.
What an age we live in.
On the Game Nashville Sports Network.
It's the George Plaster Show.
Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Okay, we get the show on the road and we say hello right off the bat to Mike Organ from the Tennessean, who happens to be the hardest working man in Nashville sports. Mike, how are you?
I'm good, George. How are you?
I'm good. What all have you been up to?
Is it really your birthday?
Is today my birthday? No.
All right. Now, the person who reached out just now said it was your birthday. I'm not saying it was Joe Dubin, but I think it was Joe Dubin. So.
Okay. Gotcha.
Okay. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
However, if it means, lavish gifts, bring it on. What the heck?
George, how old are you going to be? 68?
No. I've just had a birthday, and it is not that number.
Close, though.
Fairly close. Yeah.
Oh, we're all close.
Mike, here's where I want to start. I think everybody got caught off guard yesterday or the day before when I said that I had no interest in going to Bristol for the game between the Braves and the Reds in August. Partly because I'm not convinced you can take 170,000 seat complex and really make it where any of the seats are any good for baseball unless you are in the highest dollar range. The other thing I haven't been sold on is that you'll ever get out of there once you get in there. Night game at Bristol. Tell me what you know about how they're going to try to configure it and just your thoughts.
It's a moving target from what I understand. The last meeting, I've had 2 or 3 meetings with Bristol about this and with some folks from NASCAR and some folks from the Braves. I've been invited to a luncheon and then a couple of other meetings. I think I've been to 3 or 4 total. There was a Zoom today I couldn't make that had Michael Waltrip on it and some Braves representatives. But anyway, from what I've been told, they're just kind of doing it as they go. They'll put the scoreboard up and then they'll see how the line of how the line of sight is from that. How many people can still see it? How many they can still seat around the scoreboard? And then if they need to, they'll move it. That's the thing about Bristol, and more specifically SMI, which owns Bristol Speedway Motors Sports Incorporated, is that they don't say no to anything, George. That company was built by saying, yes, let's do it. Let's figure it out later. They've taken chances and they've been incredibly successful and now own about 17 or 18 NASCAR tracks, including Nashville Super Speedway, trying to take over Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. So they'll get it done. I mean, they'll figure it out. It's a big enough place. It seats enough, and you'll be able to take out enough seats and still set the record, which that's what they're trying to do, whether they're going to come out and say it or not. They want to set the record for a single game attendance. And, that'll get done. The part that they can't fix, or anyone else between now and then, is what you mentioned, getting in there and then, more importantly, getting out of there. That's going to be an adventure. And I think there'll be plenty of people who will go, because there'll be plenty of people who don't know how tough it is to get in and out of there. Now, the people who went to the football game that was played at Bristol with Tennessee Vols, they won't go, because they'll remember what it was like. They'll say, hey, done that, been there, done that, and they won't go. But there'll be enough Braves fans and Reds fans and fans, baseball fans. I don't know how many NASCAR fans will be interested, but there'll be enough fans that they'll get their record, I think, and it'll be a spectacle. But if you've got any knowledge or background like you do, those people are the ones that won't go. And that's where the beauty of sitting in front of your TV in your own living room comes in, and you'll be able to watch it and be thankful you're not a part of it.
George and Mike, to me, it's cooler when it's an intimate setting, like the Field of Dreams game. I don't know what the capacity was. It 7,000 that they seated there in Iowa with the corn in the background. I don't think anything's ever going to beat that setting, that night, and all the home runs they hit. To me, baseball fans would prefer a smaller, intimate setting like the Field of Dreams game, as opposed to let's set a record for fans at a game, for a baseball game, or what you were talking about, Mike. That's just my take on it. I don't know what y'all think.
And I understand that, and you're right about that, but that's not SMI, Billy, or Bristol. They're outlandish. They do, it wasn't that long ago that I was writing about they wanted to play football at the Nashville Super Speedway. The last general manager there wanted to play a Collins Bowl game up there in the infield. And, there's enough room. There's 7 acres inside that infield. So, 17 acres. So you could have done it without any problem. But that's the thing. They just come up with crazy ideas. Now, what you're talking about was a little bit more sensible. And I don't think that's the route they took on this event. I think they wanted it to be a spectacle, and they wanted it to be memorable. And it's going to be. And the people that get through it are going to be able to say they were there. I don't care enough about saying I was there. Now, of course, if I was going, and I don't think I'm going, I think we're going to have the Knoxville News Sentinel, which is also a Gannett property, will cover it for us because they're located a whole lot closer than we are. But I would, of course, go in way early and end up having to stay way late. So I wouldn't have to put up with all that. But, boy, as a fan, you got to be committed. And I think they're going to have to count on people that don't know how tough it is to get in and out of there.
Mike, I think I'm right that the largest Major League Baseball crowd in our country is somewhere in the 92,000 range. When the Dodgers moved to Los Angeles and played at the Coliseum for 3 years, they had some World Series that drew 92,000. In particular, I'm thinking of one against the White Sox. Best as you can tell, how are the tickets going for this thing?
I know they're selling. They're doing pretty well. I think they're going about as well as everybody expected. They've really started pumping it up around January, I guess. They announced it last August. They had a year. So it was on schedule. It wasn't like trying to rush anything. I know that the one figure, I didn't know what you just said, what the specifics of the biggest game ever played or highest attended. The figure that was in my head was 93,000. And that jives with what you just said, because I know anytime anybody asks me, hey, how many do they think they're going to get up there? I always just say 93,000. Well, now I know why I say that, because you just pointed out that 92,000 with the Dodgers in the World Series. So I think they'll get there. And from everything I've heard, again, I wasn't able to. I had a luncheon the other day. Wasn't able to be on the Zoom today, and I'm sure they gave an update on the tickets today. But I haven't heard anything like, oh, they're not selling, or they're going to have to make an extra push, or they're going to have to lower prices or something. I haven't heard anything like that, which leads me to believe that everything's going about as what they expected.
Okay, Billy, go with the info you've got. And by the way, that picture, I think, is the 1959 World Series White Sox Dodgers. And if
this
you can,
picture, I think, is actually the later one. The Red Sox played the Dodgers in an exhibition game. I do have the old one. I can show that one. But 115,300 preseason exhibition, Dodgers Red Sox 2008.
Wow.
But of course, that was an exhibition.
Wow.
And that's yeah.
Oh, wow. That is absolutely insane. And it looks like from the picture that this is before the Coliseum was renovated. I may be wrong, but if you're watching what we're doing, take a look at that. That is a big.
Oh my gosh, that is really make it work. Yeah, that's incredible, man. Hold on, let me. What that picture shows? Yeah, what that picture shows is a left field that I can get a ball over. Basically a chip shot, and then right field line is ridiculous. Right center looks like Mammoth Cave. Center field looks easier than right field in that configuration. So let me go back to a story, Mike, that I put out there the day, I guess, I don't know, were you with us last week? No, I was on vacation last week. Okay, so you know what the deal is. You and I exchanged a couple of emails and messages, so I know what you're talking about. Okay, I was in town. It was a staycation, so I know exactly what you're talking about. So, for those who don't know, I reported that the MLB Nashville group, led by Alberto Gonzalez and Lee Barfield, have made a request to the state to acquire the site where the old state prison was located near John Tune Airport. And it's been very disappointing for me. I've reached out to the governor's press secretary, who has completely blown me off. I've reached out to the person, Mike, that you suggested, and have gotten nowhere with that, no fault of yours. And I'm just not getting anywhere. And I guess I'm cynical enough to say, what does that mean? I think it means you're onto something. I think if there's nothing to it, then it's just too easy not to do. And that's respond, George, this is, I appreciate you reaching out, but don't know anything about this. As far as I know, there's nothing to it. I think that's what the people you've reached out to would respond. If they don't respond, and all of them don't respond, I think it says, we're going to keep this tight. Let's keep this under lid. Don't reply to anybody who inquires. Don't accept any interviews. I think it's a sign that you're onto something. The second person, and Mike gave me the contact info here, was Casey Sellers, and she as well has not responded to what I've requested. So I don't really know anything more than what I reported a week ago. I'm pretty certain that the request was made. From that point, I can't really give anybody anything new for now, but that doesn't mean I'm not trying. Third thing, and then I'll turn it to Kelly. Nate Bargatze. I remember the first time I met Nate, and obviously there's the tie with his uncle Ron Bargatze. Has hit it as big as you can humanly hit it in the comedian world. And you reported last week, I guess he's going to be involved in something
that Vanderbilt's involved in video-wise. Take me through that.
Yeah, Nate is a big Vanderbilt fan and always has been, or at least since he moved down here with his family from Indiana. They moved down here. Actually, they lived with Ronnie Bargatze, who you mentioned, and Nate was young then, and he automatically became a Vanderbilt fan, naturally because of Ronnie's ties with Vanderbilt. And those ties, his fandom has just continued to grow. And even when he got big and eventually got bigger than Vanderbilt, which is no slap on Vanderbilt, that just tells how big Nate Bargatze is today. He still remains a Vanderbilt fan. And give the SEC Network and Vanderbilt kudos for reaching out to Nate to have him narrate the Vanderbilt football debut on the SEC Network, which is going to be an 18-month look back at what took place over that span from a team that went, 2-10 to having one of the best seasons in Vanderbilt history, arguably the best, considering they beat Alabama and won a bowl game. What took place over that 18-month span, going all the way back to spring and some of the changes Clark Lee made, and to have Nate narrate it, which I hope they left him some freedom to ad-lib a little bit and interject some of his humor and candidness. And it's going to kick off, it'll be the first Vanderbilt football program of the season on the SEC Network, and then it'll be replayed again. I think it's today and tonight, and then it will be played again when on the Vanderbilt Takeover when we get into the preseason. When each team gets its own day, they'll show it again. So I just think it's a stroke of genius, and something, George, you and I have complained about many times over the years of Vanderbilt not taking advantage of obvious situations like this, stuff that's just served up to them. And because they didn't come up with it, they don't do it. I think this shows a change of heart. I think this shows, this is common sense. Let's do it. And I just think it's very cool that they did it, that they took a guy that's red hot like this. He's funny, and everybody loves him. He's a clean comic, so you don't hear, you don't have any of the controversy that might have been involved if it had been someone else, another comedian. So I just think it's a great thing. And Nate's a great guy to do it.
Yeah. Totally agree. Kelly, what do you got for Mike?
Let's go back to the baseball thing, Mike. I presented it the other day, but like with the Tennessee Titans building this brand new stadium, and George has talked about it. Everybody thinks Nashville's one of the entertainment capitals of the world, but like, do you see a Major League Ball club coming to Nashville in 4 to 5 years? And are the people? I don't think now they're ready for it, but maybe 4 or 5 years from now, do you think they'll be ready for it? Or they may be ready for it now. What are your thoughts?
I do, and I'm not a huge baseball guy. I don't consider myself an expert on especially Major League Baseball, but I've watched what this city has gone through, and I have seen that it's kind of like what Billy and I were talking about SMI. This city never says no to anything anymore. You throw it out there, and this city's going to say, let's take a look at that. And I think that, yes, I think that maybe not this city, but this state. I think what George has tapped into is the fact that maybe this has moved over to a state project. That's why it's a state property that may be being pursued now. That's why Haslam, a former governor who has a lot of money, may be involved now. It's going to take a billionaire to get something like this done. And I think that Manfred wants it. He's hinted at Nashville, albeit a long time ago, but he did say Nashville was a team. I think Utah is another team that's thought to be on the top, at the top of the list if expansion takes place. And I think Manfred wants that to be part of his legacy. And as he starts to look toward the end of his tenure, which will be, in the next decade, that'll be about the time that I think the expansion will be made. And you're talking about, are they ready now, Kelly? I think it's starting to bubble up a little bit, and I think it's going to continue as we head to 2030. And by then, the football deal will be completely over with, out of everybody's mind. no matter what happens, if they get better or not, but they'll have been in there for 4 or 5 years now, the new stadium. And I think we'll probably see a team here in 2031 or 32. I felt like that for the last year or so when I've seen the timeline of kind of what's expected. And with expansion, existing franchises, I don't think that was ever much of a deal. The Chicago thing, that was Reinsdorf playing us, to get a new stadium, as he's done many times with other entities. So to answer your question, yeah, I think that it's I think we're headed that way, but I don't think it's going to happen, anytime soon. It can't. We're building whatever it is, $3 billion football stadium. So I think once a site, George saying the prison is the first tangible site that we've heard. There was speculation of downtown next to the Nissan Stadium, and the Titans always said they didn't want a part of this. They didn't want it to be in their footprint. We had heard Tennessee State, which certainly didn't seem feasible with the swampland that's in this area where they were talking about. We'd heard possibly Williamson County or Wilson County, but we never heard a specific site. But if Georgia's onto something here, then this is another big step toward it.
Don't tell him that. He's in there beating on his chest right now, Mike. So don't tell him that. But hey, the dog days of summer are here. There's really nothing going on. There's baseball, which we know Georgia loves, Billy loves. There's baseball going on, but it is slow. But give us a preview of high school football around the Nashville area.
It is slow, but we had a meeting yesterday where we talked about what we're planning a car wash, which is a industry term for bringing in all your area teams, which we'll do in conjunction with the Titans at the existing Nissan Stadium. We'll get a good view of the roof, which I believe is going on top of the new stadium right now, today, this week. So we'll have that in Kelly, we're talking like 3 weeks. So we'll bring in all the teams. I know all the teams are invited. All can't show up. There'll be some on vacation. Coaches will be on vacation. Top players might not be around, but we'll invite coaches to bring players with them and come downtown. And it'll be like running them through a car wash. We'll run them through a video, a photo session, and an interview session. And, we're looking at that, I think, around July 14th or something like that. And then practice starts 2 weeks later. All eyes are on Jared Curtis, obviously the quarterback who committed to Georgia, decommitted, and is now going to Georgia again. We've got great quarterbacks in this area. He's the best of the bunch. 6'5", a lot of fun to watch play, very physical, strong arm. So we'll start with him. Ty Snell, it looks like we're going to lose. I think he's a 4 or 5-star, will be a 5-star. He's at Lipscomb and looks like he's leaving town. I think Tyler Palmeter from our staff broke that story this week, leaving state. Will either go to IMG or somewhere in Texas. So he'll be leaving Lipscomb. So Jamie Graham will have to find a new quarterback, which he'll do. I don't know if he'll be that good, but he'll find a good quarterback. And then we've got other quarterbacks around town. Matt Hasselback's son, who's a part of your station, he's a good quarterback, and there's plenty of others. So that's the thing. Last year was a good quarterback year with McIntyre around. This will be another year like that. Usually when you have a good, and when you have a good crop of quarterbacks come through, they come through and they're gone. And then it's a while before you have another one. We're lucky enough this year that I think we're going to have 2 consecutive years of quarterbacks to keep an eye on. And everybody loves quarterbacks, Kelly. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. And anytime you have good quarterbacks, you have good play on offense and a good football team usually.
Because we're what makes that thing roll, Mike. Quarterbacks.
Absolutely.
Trying to get paid the money. Of course, I didn't get paid that much money back then. I wish I'd have stayed a couple more years because backups are getting paid $7 million now. It's crazy.
It's absolutely incredible. If you're a parent and you're not training your son to become a NFL quarterback, you're crazy. And it don't have to be good enough to start. You're exactly right. Just good enough to take a snap and placehold until the starter gets back in, and they'll change your family tree financially for you.
Just get him to college, and if he can put a noun and a verb together, he'll get a hell of an NIL deal. Billy?
Mike, last thing, you just reported that Sterling Marlin and his co-owner that he won 2 Daytona 500s with, Larry McClure, has passed away at the age of 81. Of course, Sterling Marlin, a Columbia, Tennessee native, well regarded in the state, and especially in the sport of NASCAR. That's tough news, and obviously it'll never be forgotten what Sterling Marlin did with Larry.
Yeah, that's the McClure Morgan team. Tim Morgan was the other partner, and Billy, they won 3 Daytona 500s over a span of 4 years with Ernie Irvin in 91 and then Sterling in 94 and 95. That's pretty incredible for one team to win 3 Daytona 500s. You mentioned Sterling drove for him, for them, and had a special relationship with Larry. And Sterling is one of the NASCAR's 75 greatest drivers, and went on after that 95 win to finish 3rd in the point standings. And yeah, that was the sport lost a good one there. Died, I think, today in Virginia at 81, and was just a big part. And Bobby Hamilton had also, after Sterling, Bobby spent 1 season, his rookie season, and that was the last year that Jerry was associated with McClure Morgan. So, yeah, it's a big NASCAR story with a lot of local ties. Sterling has already tweeted out how tough it was for him, but how thankful he is for having gotten to see Jerry a year ago. Yeah, he tweeted out a picture of him and Jerry in his garage. So I guess Jerry visited him last year in Columbia, and yeah, it was a tough one. But yeah, and then, like I said, so many local ties with what Sterling did and with Bobby.
Mike, great stuff as always. Good to have you back on with us. We'll talk again soon, probably next Wednesday.
All right, stay after that story, George, on the prison grounds.
Yeah, I think the guards wanted to put me in there. But once I realized I might be in danger, I backed off of the picture taking a little bit.
With as much time as you've spent in court, George, I admire you for being willing to get that close to a prison.
Mike, thank you. That was well said. That's good stuff.
See you guys. Bye-bye.
Okay, Mike Organ from the Tennessean joining us. After the break, a short 3rd segment, and then we're going to let you hear a little bit of Barry Trotz's press conference yesterday as he attempts to rebuild or retool or whatever it is that's going on with the Predators. And I don't say that trying to be a smart aleck, but here's what I do know. October and November better feel a whole lot different than it did a year ago. This is 94.9, The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
If you are paying too much for your health insurance, you know what? You need to contact the folks at Pancoast Benefits. Pancoast works with businesses and individuals to tackle the high cost of health insurance. Whether you're a business owner, large or small, self-employed, between jobs, or over the age of 65 and in need of a Medicare plan, Pancoast can help. They make understanding your benefits less difficult and more personal. So check them out today, pancoastbenefits.com, or call them at 615-292-3400.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2025 season. Create a summer of memories at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, and more. Tickets are on sale now.
After that interception.
Let's get this turned around. And we're all saying, no, they don't.
Here.
You thought you were on your way.
Your sports live here.
On ESPN 94.9.
And the Game Nashville Sports Network. It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
We're back. George will be here shortly as he gets back. But yeah, as you can see in the background,
there he
I don't know what. I don't know what I don't know what he wanted to get into, but we'll get it now.
He got a small bladder.
You decided to use just an empty chair as the third picture.
That's what I tried to tell him the other day, George. I mean, that deserves a fine. If you know he's not there, don't put him on. If you know I'm not here, don't put me on, Billy. What are we doing? Gym shoe operation, dude. Like, figure it out.
Ring savvy. You're telling me to be on time?
I'm telling Kelly to be on time. He's always up and walking around. I don't know what he's doing in between breaks.
But if I'm not on camera, don't show me, you clown.
Could this perhaps be the pot calling the kettle black?
Let's go common sense a little bit there, William.
For 2 hours straight. I don't move the entire show.
Common sense, man. Just if I'm not on, don't put me on. If George is not on, don't put him on.
He's asking you to use your brain.
Okay, I'll try.
I know it's hard for your generation to use your brain. I get it. It's everything's plastered on the phone.
Plastered. That's an interesting verb.
Correct.
You asked a question earlier about football season being right around the corner. We are less than 3 weeks from SEC football media days, and we will be down there. And as soon as we get back from Hotlanta, GA, the home of the Braves and a crappy bullpen, we will have a little bit of a football announcement to make on the show that I think will have people going, wow.
Okay.
Really? Okay. But anyway.
I think you're right.
Okay. What do you think comes out of SEC football media days? Because I've brought up a couple of things that I think are going to come out.
I don't think hogwash.
Hogwash.
Yeah, it's just a kickoff to the season. Let's make all these coaches show up and let's talk about our teams. And it's just another thing to throw the Greg Sankey's done a good job with it. Just another thing to throw the SEC in your face. Everybody has it now, I'm sure, but I don't know if you gain anything from that, George. Like, the coaches are not going to tell. It's just like when I was in high school and everybody would say, well, why don't you go to this clinic or why don't you go to this clinic? If a coach knows something, do you think he's actually going to tell you at these clinics?
No,
you know
I don't.
What I'm saying?
I don't think that they necessarily desire to let the cat out of the bag on certain things. But I've put this out here, Kelly. I believe that what we are going to learn at SEC football media days is that the NIL money that the SEC schools basically collected in anticipation of this season. Now, this is before the judge's ruling,
right,
about the $20.5 million per school. I think the numbers that some of the SEC schools have collected as an NIL war chest is staggering.
Think so?
Oh, I do. Do you not?
I would think it would have to be staggering today. I mean, they're kind of leading the way along with the Big Ten, and you got to have boatloads of money just to compete now. just to compete.
A year ago, it got out that Ohio State had the single biggest payroll at $20 million. The end result being that all that money helped get them a national title. And they were really good at the end. You know, in postseason, they were a juggernaut. Now, I don't know that that's necessarily the reason, but I think even some of the lower level teams in the SEC have now got themselves more than $10 million apiece to work with. And Kelly, that is something I think is going to get out at SEC football media days.
It may. It could, but in today's world, in today's college athletics, you got to have money to compete, or you don't have to have money to compete, but to win it all, you better have big pockets, deep pockets. And it's kind of crazy that it's gotten this way so far, so fast, without any direction. But hey, that's the world we live in right now. The more money you have, the more opportunities you're going to have to get good players. I just don't know how coaches mesh them in such a short a time. I don't know how that works. I know that they stay up at nighttime thinking about that stuff, but I don't know how you do it.
Billy, do you believe what I believe on that front?
Yeah, I mean, it's all about money and really not a whole lot else. I mean, Ohio State had the most money. They won the national title. LSU, they had the most money. They won the baseball national title. Florida in basketball, they're up there. I mean, it's...
Now, wait a minute, because I've never heard you say that before, and I admit I don't totally know. LSU spent more money in baseball than anybody?
I mean, I can't prove that, but I've heard they're definitely up there. Maybe not the most, but
he just got George. You shouldn't have called him out, man. It's one of them accusations that Billy's thrown out there. Well, just because they won the national championship, they've got the most money.
I
Billy,
mean,
come on now.
How do you know that about Ohio State?
Because it got out.
It's been out there.
Yes. LSU is reported to have the highest baseball program budget among teams in the NCAA tournament.
Okay, just out of curiosity, what's the source on that?
Oh my gosh!
I mean,
are you
can
kidding
you not
me?
see the? No, I'm not meaning that at you. I'm saying who reported that?
Google. We just searched it. Athletic Director U.
Okay, that's all I was asking. You were so suspicious.
You're the one throwing lobs to Kelly, and that's all you were doing there.
Kelly does
have
not
facts
need
when you
me.
come to us. We're older, man. Have facts.
Kelly follows your lead, and anytime you lob it up to him,
he just takes it.
That's what makes good radio. That much makes good podcast. When he pitches it up to me, I take advantage of it.
Boom. Okay, hour number 1 is basically done.
Thank God.
Excuse me?
William.
What was the Kelly? How do you interpret that?
I don't know, but he's going to get grounded after the show. You're going to have to go into the room grounded.
Yes, he's going to lock the door, rip the knob off. Okay, when we come back, it'll be stat of the day. Probably not a success. But then we're going to hear a little bit of Predator General Manager Barry Trotz's press conference from yesterday. It's always good to be able to hear some of it. We'll do that next on 94.9 The Fan.
Looking for your favorite sports?
How about sports? You follow sports?
We probably have it. Just log on to the Information Superhighway. Oh, they don't call it that anymore?
To start, press any key. Where's the any key?
Head to thegamenashville.com.
The password. We're in.
You'll find what time your game starts and what station it's on.
Oh, they have the internet on computers now.
That's what's up. Your sports live here.
What an age we live in.
On the Game Nashville Sports Network. Listen on the air.
So don't tell me to chill out.
On the web at thegamenashville.com.
This team has strategically put themselves back in the mix.
Watch us on YouTube or download the Game Nashville app.
You have to make those plays.
Your sports live here on the Game Nashville Sports Network.
This week's Nashville's best deal is Red's Hot Chicken. Red's Hot Chicken is a family-owned Nashville gem serving up crispy, juicy hot chicken with serious flavor right on West End next to Centennial Park. From their legendary hot chicken and waffles to the hot chicken mac and cheese crunch wrap, Red's brings the heat with heart. And this week, it's Nashville's best deal. Get a $30 gift card for $15 while supplies last at 949thefam.com/deals. Red's Hot Chicken, where flavor hits different.
Save big at the Electronic Express 4th of July sale with huge deals in every department. Get cooking this summer with this Traeger grill, just $4.99. Or watch your favorite movies on this LG 55-inch smart TV, only $279. At Electronic Express, the more you buy, the more you save. Shop now and save up to an additional $1,200 on all appliances. 24 months interest-free financing? We've got that too. Shop in store or at electronicexpress.com.
ESPN 102.5 The Game and Pass is bringing you incredible daily deals at hundreds of local Nashville businesses to help you save on your everyday expenses. From restaurants and pubs, gyms, shops, salons, lawn care, and home renovations. Check out deals at Fat Bottom Brewery, Stretch Lab, Christie Cookies, Blush Boutique, and Teddy's Tavern, to name a few. Just go to thegamenashville.com/pass to sign up for a free trial of our Pass membership. Sign up now at thegamenashville.com/pass and unlock the deals.
Make your Yellowstone area vacation unforgettable at the Buffalo Bills Center of the West in Cody, Wyoming. 5 family-friendly museums packed with wildlife, art, culture, and authentic Western experiences. Plan your adventure now at centerofthewest.org.
Announcing the grand reopening of the Hermitage Dunkin' this Friday morning from 8 until 10 at 5202 Old Hickory Boulevard. Be one of the first 100 people at 8 a.m. and win 100 days of free coffee. That's right, 100 days of free coffee. And the Robbie and Rex Road Show will be broadcasting live on location. Win coffee for 100 days this Friday at the grand reopening of Dunkin' in Hermitage, 5202 Old Hickory Boulevard.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. All around the world on the Game Nashville app. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9. The Fan.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Time now for Stat of the Day, brought to you by Apple Collision Centers. You can find them in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. Give them a call, 615-754-9800, or log on to their website. That's applecollisioncenters.com. All right, we're going NBA draft today. With the draft tonight, when was the last time a team traded the number 1 overall pick?
Ooh. Kelly, right off the bat, this feels like one we're not going to get right.
Yeah, right off the bat, I have no clue.
Okay, well, that's, I
know it's encouraging. I understand that, but I don't even know a name.
Fairly honest. I simply do not know. This is just, we're tossing, this is a Roberto Duran moment. Where, for those of you who are younger, Roberto Duran in a fight against Sugar Ray Leonard, I think it was in 1980, in Montreal, threw in the towel and yelled out, or the trainer yelled out, "No mas." Mm-hmm. And that became a big...
Is that where throwing in the towel started?
No. Throwing in the towel has been a boxing thing forever. But Duran gave it a no mas and really got ridiculed for a long time. I deserve some of that right now because I can't think of anybody that's been traded in the number 1. One name that came to mind was LaRue Martin years ago, Portland Trail Blazers. But show me the correct answer.
2017, the Celtics traded the pick to the Sixers, and the Sixers took Markelle Fultz.
Which has turned out to be a complete dud.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Went to the University of Washington.
Yes.
Okay. So, couple of things. Billy, explain to people why tomorrow and Friday they will only be able to hear the show on video and not our normal social media platforms.
So you'll be doing the show from the studio there over at 94.9 The Fan. So we will not have the ability to show the show on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook, but you can listen on 94.9 The Fan in your car. You can also listen on their app online. Just go to 94.9 The Fan, 1025thegame.com. You can listen live right there as well, wherever you are. So,
Billy, where you going? You got a destination wedding or something, Hoss?
I got a golf tournament.
A golf tournament?
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
You know what I think, Kelly?
It's at Ted Rhodes.
What, George?
Do what?
What are you talking about?
So this is a Nashville tournament, and you will not be able to be here?
Why are you acting surprised?
Because this is the first I knew that it was Ted Rhodes.
So I can't take vacation.
No, absolutely not. This is just the side of living.
Billy, while we're on this, I'm taking one next week.
Yeah, I bet you're thrilled.
Which we all look forward to.
Oh, I know you do.
Okay. So tomorrow and Friday, because Billy's precious little golf game gets in the way. You know what I think, Kelly?
Tell me, please.
I think that while I'm not as good as him, I think the gap between his golf game and mine is nowhere near what he thinks it is. And I think I could mess with him big time.
You think so?
I'm just
you can make it close, George?
I'm just throwing it out there that, look.
My short game is not to be messed with.
Well, whatever. We don't.
Oh, gosh, Billy, stop it.
Yeah.
Par
Stop
3.
It. You probably hit your drive. George hits his drive 150. You probably hit yours 155. I don't see much power pack strength in that body of yours there, Hoss.
No, it's more like 200, 220.
Yeah, sure it is. Let's put it this way. You don't see me backing down at all. But I think the problem with the deal is that I think because I've been very open. My golf game sucks. But I think there's a little bit of you going, man, if I lose to this fool,
I would quit.
I'll never hear the end of it.
You would quit, Billy?
I would quit this show if I lost to George.
I say we need to get this on, dude. A match between you and George. We need to sell it. The match.
The match.
And then if you lose, you cannot. We're taking your golf stuff. Your golf clubs are coming with me.
Good. I need some new ones anyway.
It would be.
And then I'll go take them to Play It Again Sports, and I'll probably get $50 for them.
And it will only be 9 holes because in this heat, who wants to go 18? Good Lord. Okay.
True.
Let's go somewhere where it's cooler. Hockey. The draft is Friday night. I think most people, me included, believe the Predators will take a center. Whoever they take, they better be a hell of a lot better than they were a year ago when they were out of contention before Thanksgiving. Another performance like that, and heads are going to roll. No matter what Barry Trotz says, at some point, somebody's going to get pissed off if this doesn't get a lot better. Barry had a press conference yesterday. Let's hear some of what he had to say.
Obviously, would have liked to jump up higher in the draft lottery, but even at the position you're in, number 5, you feel pretty good about where you stand given the amount of talented centers that are likely available in this particular draft?
Yeah, I think we're going to get a really good player. We're fortunate that there is a number of good centers in this draft. They all bring different elements. I would say anywhere from, you talk to most draft experts, anywhere from 2 or 3, I should say, on to probably 8 or 9. It's a pretty close group, and it is. I've been in the meetings. I've seen all the top 10, 12 picks on film and live, and I would agree with most every team's assessment that there's a good crop of players in that, and then after that point, probably in the 10-11 range, it starts to fall off a little bit. But there's always good players, even if it looks like you go down the list every year. There's guys in the second and third round that make impact in this league. So.
Barry, with Schaefer and Misa kind of projected to go 1 and 2, is it kind of fair to say it's anyone's guess what happens at 3 and 4 before you guys are on the clock?
Yes. We've been trying to figure it out, trying to find out any information we can. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's I wouldn't be surprised if a name that we have 3 ends up going later. Vice versa for every team. I think they're probably in the same boat. It's going to be what whatever eyes got onto that player, whatever qualities that those teams really, really feel will be the difference maker will probably be the deciding vote. And then whoever is the influencer in the room for every team in terms of their scouting will probably be the difference maker.
I want to ask about a specific player. Porter Martone, a really physically gifted player, great offensive player, but he doesn't play center. He plays wing. Yep. How much does that matter to you, the position versus the skill the player brings?
Well, there's a little bit more, probably a little bit more need, but if that player is available, you can look at past drafts. I think I can't remember Brady Tkachuk, player that went before Brady Tkachuk. If you look at where it is now, they would probably want Brady Tkachuk based on where players go. So we're going to look at the best player, and if there's a big discrepancy, then position won't matter. But if there's very little, then we'll probably go a little more position. That's all. But that'd be a great pick at 5.
Barry, you've talked about the plan, and part of that has been building for the future. You got, I think it's 9 draft picks this year, including 4 in the top 35. But you've also made moves to acquire veterans and be competitive in the now. As you've gone through your process of evaluating how you do things, evaluating where the team is at, do you feel that you might need to pick a lane, a little bit more definitively of kind of looking ahead to the future or being more in the now, or do you feel like you're good to kind of continue how you are?
Well, I think, to be quite honest with you, I want to see what this group can do. I mean, the plan all along was for we had a gap that the older players that we have to sort of carry the load. And in my I've said it many times, I'd like to start blending those younger players that are starting to work their way out of the American Hockey League, get some experience and have say 2 veterans and a young player and sort of spread our team out a little bit. And that hasn't changed. A year from now, it may flip to one or the other, but I think right now we've got to give this group, the coaching staff and the players, to stay on the original plan. But we have a lot of players that we're pretty flexible. Most of the way we're set up right now, all our call-ups will be players that are, can go up and down. They don't need waivers. You're going to see guys that you're going to see a Kemmel. You're going to see a Reed Schaefer. You're going to see, like last year, we had LaRue and Svechkov. They came up a lot earlier than I expected and wanted to, quite frankly. But they're already there. And, even in the case of Svechkov and LaRue, they don't need waivers. They could still go down. So there's a lot of flexibility in our lineup, which I wanted, which was with full disclosure, that was the intent, that we would have the ability to do that this year. And then I have, I think 5 guys that are in their last year of their contract on forward, and a couple of guys on the back end that are either restricted or unrestricted. So we have lots of flexibility if guys pop. If our team gets back to where I think it can, then we can still supplement with using the older players, but our call-ups are going to get could get a lot of games this year. That's the way I feel. I think this group will be energized. The older players, as much as they like playing with veteran players a lot of times, they're going to need a lot of these young guys. They're going to need their legs. They're going to need their enthusiasm, because it's going to be a grind. This year, the schedule is more condensed. The schedule is we're going over to Sweden. So there's going to be very few practice days. Travel's going to be tight, and we're going to have to be on our game, and we're going to use all our pieces. And sometimes that youthful energy can make the grind a little bit easier. So I'm hoping that's the case.
Yep. Barry, I know the team put out something recently on Roman and his condition. I'm just curious how confident you are in what you've heard. And is that something you're having to plan toward that maybe you weren't aware of until fairly recently?
Yeah. When we found that out last year with Roman, we jumped on that pretty quick. We got him out to a specialist. He's been working with it. He's had good success with the treatment to this point. I've been told by the doctors and my medical team that he's trended very well, and it should be ready to go, and is looking forward to not having to have the effects of it as much as he did maybe last year. And if he can get back to the level of Katie Ledecky, I mean, she's done pretty good having the same sort of situation. It doesn't mean that Roman can't have the success that we're used to Roman having. And in Roman's case, I think in some ways you're going to get a healthier Roman, not only physically because he's had some time off, but also mentally with getting this off his plate and the effects of it. So I'm hoping that Yost has a really good bounce back season for us, and get guys like Jeremy Lauzon back for a season, and Stammer and Marchessault and Shea feeling that this is their team now, and part of it, I think that part of our team should be much better. And then obviously with the move, I made a move to bring in Luke Richardson to our staff. I just thought we need a new set of eyes. We got a lot of young defensemen coming in. Luke has got a lot of experience working with the defense. Our 5-on-5 game is to me, that's where we failed the most last year. And he's been on a lot of good teams. He's been a assistant coach for a long time. He's been a head coach a few times, so he's got some experience. Adding those extra eyes and that experience with just a different voice, I feel it's a real upgrade to our staff. Re-energizes us a little bit, because last year was tough in a lot of ways for everybody in the organization. So hopefully these few things will allow us to get back and get back the joy that we and success that we usually have.
Barry, what's your appetite for potentially considering trades with some of your premium picks in this year's draft to help the team maybe right away versus waiting 3 or 4 years when the
I'm all for it if the right situation comes. It seems that there's I'm trying to do that. Everybody's in this mode, I think, this week of trying to assess what they can get, what they can give up. As you get closer to the draft, it'll be a lot clearer. There's teams that have cap situation that they want to clear up because they might be in the win now mode and they want to make another big move. They may, there's things that I'm not even thinking of that may come our way. So yeah, I'm open to that. If someone wants to needs picks and wants to move past a really good player, I'm all in for that. I never turn my nose up at any good player. So, but everybody's looking for players right now, which is, that just tells you what the parity in the NHL is right now.
Okay, that's Predators general manager Barry Trotz addressing the media yesterday. So, Kelly, I don't think it's any secret I'm a big Barry Trotz fan. Yeah. It's hard not to be, given the years that I dealt with him, covered him, however you want to call it. Barry Trotz is an incredibly good human being. That said, I'm really confused right now as to what the plan is. And I will admit, and I hope I'm wrong about this, but a lot of smarter hockey people than me looked at this deal a few days ago for Eric Haula, a former Pred who came back to him from New Jersey and kind of said, what's that about?
Yeah. You never truly know, because I say it about the NFL. We're never in those meetings, George. But like, did he say that he was going to keep the Marcia Show guy? Didn't he say that? Didn't you say that he's kind of been a deal where he was the one that kind of spoke up in the locker room after the season last year and talked a little bit about the head coach?
Yeah, and look, people who cover it a lot closer than me were not shocked that it was Marcia So who popped off. Barry Trotz has traditionally despised that kind of thing going on. And so people tried to put two and two together and say he's going to get traded. Now, what I believe in reading through the tea leaves is that they couldn't work anything out that looked like it would be advantageous to the Predators. And so that's why they're saying he's not going to be traded. Oh, I think if Trotz had his way on this, he'd have shipped Marcia So out of here. But, one of the things that was going to have to happen was that the Preds were going to have to sweeten the pot for some team to take on that salary.
Right.
I know as a fan and as somebody who's been a season ticket holder from day one, I can't figure out what they're doing. I am kind of thrown up my hands and said, I don't see it. I don't get it. And there are probably others out there that kind of feel the same way. I think they need to have a really good weekend. I think, number one, they need to get some players that can help them sooner than later. Their young players have not taken a step forward. That's one of the reasons they're in this sucky position, is that they really have not had a lot of the younger players step up to say, we're going to be a force. The other thing that I think needs to happen is some sort of a trade this weekend, given all of those resources, those 9 draft picks. They need to do something if they intend to be a playoff contender this year, which I have heard Barry say, we intend to be a contender. Well, running back this same unit exactly the way it was a year ago, I don't see how anybody can think that's going to work.
You say they need.
Go ahead.
You say they need a good weekend. I mean, how good can it be if, say they draft a good, really good player with the number 5 overall pick? How soon could he even be in the NHL? I hear
I would have
obviously
liked to have asked Barry that question. We tried to get him on. It just simply couldn't work out this week when we made the request. That's one of the things I would have liked to have asked him was, are you looking for that first pick to be somebody in the second half of the season that can help your club?
I don't know. And is that common for even?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, has it happened? Sure. Is it all that common? No, it isn't.
Let me ask y'all: is this a deep center draft? Because we always talk about the NFL, and is it a deep quarterback draft or a deep left tackle draft? Is it a deep center draft? Have they got a bunch where they can choose from? Because that seems, Willie said it the other day, it seems like that's the catalyst that they need.
Yeah, they have not been very good at center, in particular in a second line center. What they tried to get away with a year ago didn't work. And so it's a glaring need for them. I need I really need to see something that gets me excited. Something that has me going, oh, okay, I get it. Now, this may be unfair, but the Eric Holla trade didn't do that for me at all.
Yeah.
That trade, and look, I'm not the only person going, what's that one all about? Hope I'm wrong. And I certainly don't have the hockey knowledge that some people have, but I have enough to go, I don't get it.
Yeah, well, why do you feel that way, George? Like, did he not move the bar? Like, what has he got? He's got some experience. Is he a leader? Like, what's your? I've never heard of the guy. I mean,
Okay.
of course, I don't follow hockey as much as y'all do, but I've never heard of the guy.
He's a former Pred. Do I think he moves the needle? No, I don't.
Yeah.
It just, to me, was sort of a, okay.
He's there. He's been here. Let's get him.
What does that do?
Right.
And the only thing I hear is that, at one point he played for Andrew Brunette, which makes me think that Brunette may have been the one pushing this deal. But the general reaction when I saw the deal was, huh? And most people around the hockey world had kind of the same reaction.
Can imagine, because I've heard of some hockey players. Obviously, I know some, but like I never heard of him. So like you never know why a guy does that. And you may be right. I mean, it might be they know that something's going on in the locker room. Maybe if they bring an Andrew Burnett guy in here, maybe he can help that. Maybe he can ease the tension in the locker room if that is going on. So maybe that's the reason. I don't know.
So Billy, so you're saying you asked me sort of the question about this needs to be a good weekend.
Yeah, obviously it does. But in terms of this season's success, I don't really see how much this weekend can help.
Well, I think it's more probably through trades.
Right.
I don't believe.
But are they looking? You didn't hear anything in the press conference about any big trade potential. Usually in a press conference like that, there's some inkling and people learn about.
Yeah.
I mean, you need to learn about anything.
Well, he may be doing a good job of keeping it,
hopefully,
away from us. Here's what I know. They quit on multiple occasions last year under Andrew Burnett. There are games where there is no question they mailed it in. Well, that's crap. Okay, that's unacceptable. And the fact of it is, I would have made a coaching change. And it's nothing personal. But, to me, he's on a really short leash. And if October and November of this year look anything resembling what went on last season, Andrew Burnett's got to go, pure and simple. And if Barry Trotz isn't willing to do it, then ultimately somebody will show Barry Trotz the door, and I don't want that to happen.
Yeah, and if this weekend isn't big in terms of a big trade being made for the Preds that gets Preds fans excited, that's not a good sign. Like you said,
Probably not.
They've got to do something big to sort of shake things up this weekend. And I'm with you too, George, in the fact that, okay, because you didn't fire Andrew Burnett, and there haven't been any moves made up to this point, and there hasn't been any rumors or circulation of really anything going on in terms of trading people, this weekend there's got to be something, because it's about that time for Preds fans to feel either that, okay, we're rebuilding and it's going to take 3-4 more years to really get this thing going, or no, we're investing to win right now.
Trades are kind of an ever-flowing deal, though. Like, you could get he may not know right now. I don't know if he came to the press conference knowing that, but like when stuff starts happening, it starts happening fast, and a lot of times it happens at the last hour. It's just like one of those auctions online for a car. I mean, it'll be on there for 5 days, and then the last 5 minutes, that thing will shoot up, and that's how trades are. I know that's how it was in the National Football League, and I know sometimes you get early warnings on some things, but a lot of times that happens at the last minute.
So, the NHL draft is Friday night, or it starts on Friday night. The NBA draft begins this evening, and I think the world pretty well knows, it's an open secret, Dallas Mavericks are going to take Cooper Flagg. We will talk with our own Ty Wellemeyer after the break. He's way into this NBA draft stuff. And then, Kelly, you can take a rip at him about stat of the day.
I will. Thank you.
Stay tuned. This is 94.9 The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Are you ready to begin? Trevecca Nazarene University. From calling to becoming.
I trained my entire life to be the best. I was one of the fastest women in the entire country. But woke politics made me swim against a man, sharing the pool and the locker room. That's not just dangerous, it's degrading. Thank God for Marsha Blackburn. No one fights harder to protect us. Marsha Blackburn will always stand for strong women, because she's one of us.
I'm Marsha Blackburn, and I approve this message.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2025 season. Create a summer of memories at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, and more. Tickets are on sale now.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
Country. But woke politics made me swim against a man, sharing the pool and the locker room. That's not just dangerous, it's degrading. Thank God for Marsha Blackburn. No one fights harder to protect us. Marsha Blackburn will always stand for strong women, because she's one of us.
I'm Marsha Blackburn, and I approve this message.
Looking for your favorite sports?
How about sports? You follow sports?
We probably have it. Just log on to the Information Superhighway. They don't call it that anymore?
To start, press any key. Where's the any key?
Head to thegamenashville.com.
The password. We're in.
You'll find what time your game starts and what station it's on.
Oh, they have the internet on computers now.
That's what's up. Your sports live here.
What an age we live in.
On the Game Nashville Sports Network. It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
We're back. Our staff is a young man, Ty Wellemeyer, who probably keeps up with the NBA closer than most of us. I keep up with it very closely during the playoffs. This kind of stuff, the draft and all that, I'm not sure I get into the way he does, but let's bring him up by phone. Ty, we all know it's going to be Cooper Flagg tonight, and it feels like he's a no-brainer, can't miss. Do you see any way he does miss?
I mean, that's a really good question, to be honest with you. Right now, looking at Flagg, there's not a glaring hole in his game. People were concerned about the three-point shooting at Duke. He aced that perfectly, shot 38%. The only thing that some people have concern with Flag is his ability to create his own shot off the bounce. Everything else with Flag, people are saying that's an all-star, possibly MVP, possibly Hall of Famer if he develops. In Dallas, I don't see there's a way that he doesn't succeed, but injuries can happen. The team around him could fall apart. Maybe the coach doesn't use him right. So anything's possible, but right now, looking at his game, I don't see there being a way he does fail.
So last night they got the news Kyrie Irving is going to be there for the next 3 years unless he wigs out, which he has done in his past, but has been a much more solid citizen in Dallas. Are we to read out of that's Kyrie saying, man, I really like the direction and I really like Cooper Flag?
Yeah, you think of Kyrie, you think of a problem child in Brooklyn, you think of him as a problem child in Boston. Kyrie's been pretty well behaved in Dallas. He seems to really enjoy playing there. He seems to enjoy playing under Jason Kidd's system. So I do agree with you, George. I think him re-signing is him saying, hey, I'm committed to Dallas. I'm committed to what we're doing here with Anthony Davis, with Cooper Flag. So I agree with you there, George.
So it got out when Jason Tatum had that awful injury. And what a shame that was, because who knows who wins that series, although in fairness to the Knicks, they were taking care of business when he was healthy. But that injury has precipitated kind of a bloodletting salary cap wise in Boston. You've had 2 or 3 pretty main contributors go away. First of all, talk to the listeners about who all they've gotten rid of, and is there more coming?
Yeah, so it's funny you asked this, George. I'm a Boston Celtics fan, so I've been monitoring the situation pretty well. So for those of you who aren't aware, Boston was looking at being the first $500 million basketball team with going over the second apron and all these luxury taxes. So Boston traded away Drew Holiday to Portland and Kristaps Porzingis to the Atlanta Hawks, 2 older guys on big contracts that Boston just did not want to pay, especially with the Tatum injury and with the status of Boston looking kind of iffy heading into next season. As for people who might be traded, I've heard rumors that Jaylen Brown could be traded. I've heard rumors that Derek White could be traded. But right now it seems that Brad Stevens is pretty content with the team now that he's got Porzingis and Holiday off the books. We're under the second apron now. So I'd say anything is possible. Boston has surprised me before with trades. But right now, I'd say Boston is pretty set on this team.
Is this them waving the white flag for the year that Tatum is not going to be able to play, and then they retool next summer?
That seems to be the case right now. I don't know if it's waving the right flag as much as we just need to shed salary. The second apron is going to come for a lot of teams in the NBA. It's going to come from Oklahoma City eventually when they have to give all their good players long contracts. It's more of maybe a little bit of a white flag, maybe a little bit of let's just push this. When Tatum's healthy, we have now all this cap we can use because they got expiring contracts. Let's just see what happens with the team we have right now.
Okay, last thing before I turn it over to Kelly Holcomb, and you better beware because, boy, he's got some thoughts about these stats of the day.
I've heard.
Me being a smart aleck, Rutgers has 2 players that are going to go really high tonight. Why weren't they any better than they were?
So I watched a lot of Rutgers games, the college basketball sicko in me. Rutgers, other than those 2, Ace Bailey, Dylan Harper, didn't really have a whole lot of talent. So I know you guys were talking about, was it a coaching issue? Maybe. Steve Pikiell didn't really recruit that much talent around those 2 players. And the transfers he got just didn't perform like he thought they would. So some nights it was just Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey playing 2-on-5, and that's not very conducive to winning basketball. Harper got hurt for a couple games. Then we saw Ace Bailey just chuck up 25 shots a game, which if he was hitting them, great. If he wasn't, automatic loss. So I don't know if I can put it on those two as much as I can put it on the overall team. But I mean, those two maybe play a role in it. It's the whole team.
So, Kelly, you obviously have been waiting a while for this. This is your chance to sort of,
Ty, let me preface this by saying you do a good job, man. I know that's a thoughtless job. You do a good job, but I'm just awaiting the question of who had a hangnail in the 1956 World Series that missed the game. That's what I'm waiting on. Something like that. You know what I'm saying? Some of these things are hard, brother.
Sometimes we just scour the internet and a random fact pops up and I say, you know what, that'll be a good one. That'll be a good talking point. And sometimes I maybe don't think about how difficult the question is. But I'm like, hey, the answer is going to get them talking. So sometimes that's my thought process.
Okay, so Mr. NBA guy, yeah, he does. You do a good job, man. I'm just messing with you, but NBA guy, what does the Memphis Grizzlies do tonight with their draft? What do you think, or when they're up, what do you think they do? What are their needs?
So Memphis is an interesting team in the draft right now with all the experts because up until Father's Day, they didn't have a first round pick. So they weren't really doing a lot of scouting. Then they do the Desmond Bane trade to the Magic, and they get the 16th pick in the draft. So now they're doing all this catch-up scouting, holding all these workouts for these prospects. The one thing they need is a wing to fill that void left by Bane. So I think in an ideal world, they go get Cedric Coward out of Washington State, 6'7" with a 7'2" wingspan, which is unheard of with prospects. He can shoot the three really well, great on defense. He screams Memphis 3 and D. The problem is there are rumors that San Antonio loves Coward. Oklahoma City loves Coward, and those teams have the 14th and 15th picks. So maybe Memphis trades up to get him. Maybe they just let the field play out. Maybe they get a guy like Nick Clifford from Colorado State who kind of does the same things as Coward, an all-around player. Maybe they trade up and get Colin Murray Boyles from South Carolina if they really like him. So the problem with being in that 16 range is you have to wait for the lottery to play out before you can really make a move. So it's kind of hard to say, but they need to go after a wing. So we'll wait and see what happens.
So tell me this, Ty. Do you think the Grizzlies organization, John Morant's a great player, but do you think they're running thin with all his antics of all the things he's getting in trouble with? Do you think they're kind of running thin with all that?
Ja's a very polarizing player in Memphis because you're right, Kelly. He has the antics. He throws grenades into the crowd randomly after a three-pointer. He also is very injury prone. I don't know how many games he's played in the last 2 seasons, but I think it might be under 60. He can't stay healthy. He doesn't shoot the three very well, but yet the team seems dedicated to building around him and Jaren Jackson Jr. And in a West that's getting stronger, the Mavericks are going to get Cooper Flagg. San Antonio is getting Dylan Harper to pair with Victor Wembanyama and De'Aaron Fox. You have Kevin Durant going to Houston. Memphis is going to have to make a John Morant decision eventually. The question is, when is it going to happen? So I think it's always in the back of their mind that this guy could do something dumb again, but is his talent worth it?
I got you. So my last question here, this is kind of my question of the week, and you're a young guy. We always have older guys on, but you're a young guy. The other night with the Tyrese Halliburton injury, what are your thoughts on that? Because he was injured. I've gained a lot of respect for him because he played, but like now, I know it was Game 7 of the NBA Finals. I get it. And every athlete wants to play, but everybody knows that when you have calf issues, you have calf problems. Sometimes it's likely that you're going to have a Achilles injury. And you being a young guy, what are your thoughts on that? Would you have played him, or would you have made him sit?
That was a topic of hot debate at my work for sure. Was, do you play him? Do you not? What do you do? And there was a fear in the back of everyone's minds, because I live in Indiana, that if he plays, he's going to hurt his Achilles, like you said. But at the same time, if you sit him for game 6, do you even get a game 7? That's the thing. And once the Pacers got to game 7, it was all but certain he was going to play, because in the mind of the Pacers, he got through game 6 with no problem. What are the odds that he gets hurt in game 7? So, I mean, looking back on it, you don't play him. But in the moment, it's game 7. Who knows if the Pacers are ever going to get back there? You have to play him. But it unfortunately just went the wrong way, and now he's out for the rest of next season. And there's a glaring hole at point guard now for the Pacers that they're going to have to address.
Ty, where do you think Chaz Lanier ends up? I mean, I know he's most likely a second-round guy, and you would think he gets drafted, but is he a late second-round guy, or could he be taken early second?
And why is he falling so much?
The thing with the NBA draft that we have, and it's weird, and we saw it with Dalton Connect last year. The NBA does not like older players. They want these guys with high upside. They want the 18-year-olds. They want the 19-year-olds. They want the unproven 18-year-old kid from France. So to answer George's question, Chaz Lanier is on the older side, and that's going to scare away some NBA GMs. It's the same reason Janai Broom might go to the second round. It's the same reason Mark Sears might go to the second round. Lanier, for me, could be middle second, late second, but the second round's really weird this year, Billy, because you're seeing a lot of these guys who were fringe late first rounders to early second rounders go back to college for more NIL money. I'm talking LeBaron Philon. I'm talking Tahad Pettiford. I'm talking Miles Bird from San Diego State. Those guys who could have been high second round picks went back to college. So Lanier could very obviously go early second round. The second round is very unpredictable, but he will get drafted for sure because he's an excellent scorer. But the range is very up in the air because sometimes those second round picks get traded very willy-nilly. So no one really knows where he'll end up.
Yeah, that's a really good point on some of those guys that came back to the SEC, George. We talked about that. Some of these coaches are saying, hey, we can give you more money here to stay. I know you might play a little bit in the NBA next year. You'll probably be in the G League. But come back, play here, lead us to, Elite Eight, Final Four. That's a pretty good deal for a lot of those guys that are late second round, mid second round projections.
And the G League isn't nearly as much fun. A lot of empty gyms.
No.
It's not like playing at Coleman Coliseum in front of 15,000.
Yeah. Appreciate it, Ty.
Well, thank you for your time.
Until next time, have a good time. Thank you, Ty.
Thank you, George.
Ty Wellemeyer, keeping up with this stuff. I agree with him on there will come a day where Memphis has to address the issue. And the issue is Ja Morant worth it?
Worth it. Yep.
And I think there will be a day in some room where they say, not anymore. After the break, Kelly, a potpourri of things, including plaster bet of the day. Did I tell you we've gone over 500?
Yeah, you went off for over 500 yesterday, though.
Mm-hmm.
You were there yesterday, but your boy Matt Olson, is that his name, Matt Olson? He was killing it last night.
Yes, he was.
Timely hitting, brother.
Mm-hmm. And that great bullpen, Enyel De Los Santos. Okay, Dylan Dudd coming back in just a moment on 94.9 The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2025 season. Create a summer of memories at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, and more. Tickets are on sale now.
If you are paying too much for your health insurance, you know what? You need to contact the folks at Pancoast Benefits. Pancoast works with businesses and individuals to tackle the high cost of health insurance. Whether you're a business owner, large or small, self-employed, between jobs, or over the age of 65 and in need of a Medicare plan, Pancoast can help. They make understanding your benefits less difficult and more personal. So check them out today, pancoastbenefits.com, or call them at 615-292-3400.
Your sports live here.
On ESPN 94.9.
And the Game Nashville Sports Network. It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
We are back. Will either one of you watch 1 minute of the NBA draft tonight?
No.
I'll watch the first 10, 15 minutes, see who the first few picks are, and then call it a night. I have just the NBA. I still I watched the finals, but I even wasn't even locked into the finals games. I'll be honest. I don't know.
But those were really good games.
They were, but I can't put a finger on why I'm not as invested. And I know a lot happened around COVID and all that stuff, but
is it this golf tournament you're playing in that you're blowing off work for?
Yeah, I've been playing too much, but no, I don't know. I haven't been as invested, but I'll watch a little bit tonight.
Yeah, no, I don't even watch the NFL draft.
Yeah, that's
I'm not watching the NBA draft. Just not going to do
watch the NFL draft.
So that's channeling your inner antisocial.
Well, I'm not antisocial at all. I mean, I like being around folks, but I'm not watching that. I'm not wasting. That's minutes and hours of my life that I will never be able to get back, and I'm just not going to do it. Now, there are people that watch the whole thing, and when you watch the NFL draft, it's amazing to me all the people that actually go. There's hundreds of thousands.
Well, and more impressive this year in Green Bay, it looked cold.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, that's not Miami Beach, but
no.
Apparently they're either used to it, able to cope with it better, or they have really good antifreeze.
They got thick blood up there, man. They don't. The cold does not bother folks up north. I promise. They get out in it, which is crazy.
Yeah, antifreeze.
Yeah,
and it will be interesting though. With all due respect to the NBA draft, where does Chaz Lanier land? I know that probably won't be till tomorrow night. And Janai Broom, he's a guy that his vertical leap. I don't know if you have that, Hugh, but it was not good at all. I mean, it was horrible. So obviously he's an older guy. The NBA doesn't like the older guys, like Ty said, but I'll be interested to see where those guys land.
Okay, but now in fairness to him, he also had a significant leg injury throughout most of the season.
Good point. Yeah,
okay.
But he's got a 39-inch max vertical leap.
What's yours?
I think it'd be better than that.
No, Billy, it would not.
No.
39?
Billy, it would not.
No.
You wouldn't even come close, homie.
You would be an Enyel de los Santos.
Enyel.
A no saver.
You're not a big fan of Enyel's.
Well, no. I think I have pinpointed in my
issue.
Well, in my viewing of the Braves, that he pitches a lot better if there's no pressure. But that when there's pressure, I don't know.
So he's not Mariano Rivera. Is that what you're saying, George?
No, I am absolutely saying that. Yes. Thank you, Kelly. Billy, are we now prepared to review last night's activities?
We are, and it's brought to you by Bart Durham Injury Law. We take a look. What happened last night? The Cubs lost. And now, but you're still above 500.
Hold on a second. That's not an accurate depiction of last night's activities.
He's split, man. He's split. He did good.
Administrative error on ties.
No, he has it up there.
What are you talking about?
He has it up there. Atlanta win, Cubs loss.
Okay, forgot to say the Braves won.
I mean,
I love the way Billy does that, though. He points out the negative first, which I like that about you, Billy. Nice.
The people care about the losses.
I think the people, when they go to the collection plate, care about both.
I think if people listen to this show and get this advice from you, they've got some screws loose upstairs, is what I think.
A few.
I think that's very possible. Okay. Tonight was a difficult one. You know, it'd be easy just to bet on Cooper Flagg being picked by the Dallas Mavericks, but I don't resort to that kind of cheap victory, at least not very often. No, I do not. I do not. So we're going tonight with the Phillies and Zach Wheeler, because I think Wheeler is really good. They're in Houston to take on the Astros. They are a 145 favorite, and I am taking the Fightin' Phils. So there.
Better babe. Does that hurt you, George, to have to do that? Because I know you love the Phillies.
Look, let's face it. The Braves aren't winning this division. Now,
you think they're going to make the playoffs? You think they'll make the playoffs?
No, I do not.
So what does this win streak over the Mets mean?
It probably means more about the Mets than it does the Braves. Now, look, I'm hopeful that this is the start of something that's better. But the fact of the matter is the Braves are today 6 games out of the final wild card spot. And if I'm the GM and you get to the trade deadline and you're 6 back of the final wild card spot, I'm not doing anything that gives up assets for next year. I'm just not. And in fact, I'm going in the clubhouse and I'm telling them ahead of time, here it is. You got to get me within 3 or 4 before I'm going to do anything to help this year's team. Anyway, you're probably tired of hearing us. Tomorrow on the show, Danny Evans will join us. I wonder if he buys that philosophy. And then at 4 o'clock, we're going to go up to the Cape Cod League and learn a little bit more about what's going on up there. Billy, enjoy your golf tournament. Had I known that it was local, you wouldn't have gotten tomorrow off.
Thank you. Enjoy the show tomorrow and Friday.
Yeah, whatever. See you, Kelly.
See you, brother. See y'all.
See all of you on 94.9 The Fan.